I didn't learn to stay busy, I learned to stay hidden. Chapter 2, The Boy Who Stayed Busy. Chicago has a way of sounding alive even when you're 20 floors up. The wind pushes against the glass, the trains rumble in the distance, sirens rise and fade like waves. It's a city that never fully settles, and maybe that's why it feels right for this chapter. Because I didn't grow up in stillness. I grew up in motion. This room overlooks the river, the bridges, the endless grid of lights. It's beautiful in a way that feels structured, engineered. And as I stand here watching the city move, I can feel the echo of the boy I used to be. The boy who learned early that movement wasn't just activity, it was protection. My mother loved me. I need to say that clearly. She loved me with everything she had, but she was fighting storms I couldn't see. Storms that filled the house with tension, unpredictability, and a kind of emotional weather you learn to read before you can even read a book. She kept me busy, not out of neglect, out of survival. Toys, games, TV humming in the background, coloring books, anything that kept my hands moving and my mind occupied. As a kid, you don't question it. You don't ask why the house feels heavy. You don't ask why silence feels dangerous. You just learn the rhythm of the environment you're in. And the rhythm of my childhood was motion. I remember the carpet, rough, brown, patterned like something from a thrift store. I remember the smell of laundry detergent mixed with whatever was cooking on the stove. I remember the TV on low volume. Not loud enough to disturb, but loud enough to fill the quiet. And I remember the feeling, the sense that if I stopped moving, something inside the house might crack open. So I stayed busy. I stayed occupied. I stayed out of the way. People talk about childhood like it's supposed to be simple. Mine wasn't dramatic. It wasn't traumatic in the ways people usually mean. It was just full of noise, full of activity, full of distractions that kept me from noticing the things no one wanted to talk about. Looking back, I can see it clearly. I wasn't playing. I was coping. I'd line up my toys in perfect rows. I'd build little worlds where everything made sense. I'd watch the same shows over and over because repetition felt safe, predictable, controlled. Chicago's skyline at night looks like that. Rows of lights, grids of windows, everything in its place. Order imposed on chaos. A city pretending it's not built on wind and uncertainty. That was me. A kid pretending he wasn't built on fear and confusion. The boy who stayed busy becomes the man who stays distracted. I carried that habit into my teens, into my 20s, into my marriage, into every room where I felt the quiet closing in. I didn't know how to sit with myself, so I filled the space with anything I could. Noise, screens, tasks, fantasies, escape. It's strange how early you learn to split yourself, how early you build a double life without even realizing it. On the outside, I was a normal kid. I laughed, I played, I had friends. I did well in school. No one would have guessed that inside I was already building a private world. A world where I could hide the confusion, the questions, the feelings I didn't know how to name. That private world became my refuge, and later my trap. I can still picture myself sitting cross-legged on the floor, sorting toys by color or size, creating order in a house that felt unpredictable. I didn't know it then, but I was teaching myself something. If you stay busy, you don't have to feel. That lesson followed me for decades. Even now, in this Chicago hotel room, with the wind pressing against the window and the river moving steadily below, I can feel the echo of that boy, the one who kept his hands moving so his heart didn't have to. But here's the truth I couldn't see then. Busyness isn't peace, it's camouflage. And eventually, the things you hide from catch up. This chapter isn't about blame. It's about understanding. It's about tracing the thread back to where it started. Not to rewrite the past, but to understand the map I've been following my whole life. The boy who stayed busy didn't disappear. He grew up. He learned new ways to stay occupied, new ways to avoid the quiet, new ways to hide. But he also learned something else, something I didn't expect until much later. Stillness isn't the enemy. Silence isn't a threat. And the quiet is where the truth waits. Busy hands, quiet heart. I didn't know how much I was hiding, but I'm learning now. A different room, a different window, a different city each month.